I've been running a software consultancy for the past 3 years, and I've been recording every day for the past year. Today I'm just doing a little update on kind of where things are. Big reflection for today and big kind of theme is just get better at the boring work. I think different personality types have a different relationship with this. I struggle with doing repetitive and extremely boring work that I really don't feel like doing. But man, sometimes like violence is the answer. Violence in terms of just doing more and more and more of the same boring shit that you're sick of. You don't want to write one more fucking outreach message. And I know that I think more is just really sometimes what you have to do, more of whatever is working. You know, my entire business is a software consultancy, so a lot of what I help my clients do, and a lot of what I even do internally, is I apply automations to this stuff to get better at it, right? That's the whole point. But there are certain parts, I think this is especially true when you're starting out, and this is actually why also one of the things I'm doing is a big initiative to push toward larger clients. There's more to automate when you're more established because you've done enough of the reps at the start that you understand the patterns. I am not in a position where I'm there yet, you know, a lot of the time. So what I mean by that is, for example, if you have been creating content for a year, then you have enough data points to build a system around it, right? Because you know, you can look at the data points and understand the patterns. And I'm starting to do this with my own content, for example. Although that's not as much of a priority as certain other things. That's the only reason I haven't done it. But I am starting to build something around it by looking at, okay, what are the ideas that perform? What are the different formats and things like that? But sometimes it's just getting on with incredibly boring things and it sucks. You just don't feel like doing it. Anyway, my day was a little bit of just doing that. Bunch of meetings, and I stayed home all day. I'm not really a fan of staying home all day. Like I think I get bored of it. I get tired of it quite a lot if I like don't even step outside. So I'm actually gonna head to the gym soon, but Tuesdays are my call days. So like meeting days, today's a Tuesday. So I just spent a lot of the time inside, one back-to-back meeting after another. And that's it. Yeah, my current priorities are basically double down with a particular client's project that I want to do and basically to get a better case study from them. Potentially we're focusing a little bit more on revenue operations, marketing operations, just because it's a niche where A, we're building a good case study, B, it's just niche, is an area which if we do this case study well, we can apply the same thing over and over again. And in general, I think too many of the past case studies that we have are MVP builds, and that's something that we want to get away from because it's a market with a lot of structural churn. I think this is something that a lot of people don't realize. If you want to start a business, like as young or as a kid or whatever it is, you're limited by the exposure to real world problems. And so you end up working with lower quality customers because those are the only ones that you can help. What I mean by that is I started doing MVP builds and stuff because I had exposure to startups, because those are the only people that I had worked with. I had not worked in corporate, I had not worked in larger agencies, consultancies, whatever it is. The stuff that we're doing now in terms of like marketing operations, I am learning from basically there's a client that hired us that does several million a year in revenue, and they hired us to build a version of their platform. And so it's not really an MVP because we're doing a rebuild, but it's building a product, right? But they already had something in mind, and we're learning with them other problems that bigger companies have. There's this big point that a lot of people in this kind of online space don't see. When you start a company straight out of school or whatever, like really quite young, which was my situation at least, like you will end up serving a low quality market because that's the only market that you can serve. You only know how to build MVPs because you've never worked at a larger company, and so you're guessing at what problems they have, but you don't actually have experience with those. Similarly to kind of like a lot of the online coaching space is focused on selling to beginners most of the time because people haven't been in it for long enough to sell to more advanced people. But I think selling to larger companies, you know, more advanced people, selling to like enterprise level, that's really where you get more money made because like you don't have as much structural churn and you can keep a customer literally forever. Some of the projects that we did service 2 years ago aren't in business anymore because it's just the game of startups. People fall out of business all the time. People fail. And so there's a lot of structural churn baked into that startup market, the same way there's a lot of this kind of churn into, for example, the coaching market, where you're focused on beginners. That's why I think it's a struggle to really scale there because you have to constantly find new customers. And people do the organic content marketing well, but like to find lots of new customers all the time for a decade, I think becomes exhausting. The game that you want to be playing is the reselling game. You want to find customers that continue to buy and buy and buy. I think the LTV of the average Starbucks customer is like 14 grand. Nobody goes into Starbucks and spends 14 grand, but they spend 14 grand over a long period of time. You go again and you buy a coffee and you buy croissant and you show up again. Same thing with Nike. Like, these people just have a really high LTV because those customers keep coming back. Very sticky customers. And that's the thing that you fundamentally, I think, want in a business. And if you want customers to stay, if you don't want to be playing the sales game essentially, like for the rest of your life, you need to find a market which does not have structural churn issues. This is a big thing. Anyway, that's a bit of a rant. I'm gonna leave it at that. Comment any questions. I answer as many as I can. Let me know other good video ideas. I think right now I'm in a season of just more documenting, more doing, less creating fancy new videos just right now. Just for a bit, maybe this month or so, because I'm just getting some things I think lined up, but I'm quite excited. So yeah, that's it. That's the plan.